All right. We are recording a training on the new process on how to handle a second lien. All right, go ahead, Lisa.
Okay, thanks, Jackson. So the brokered loan process is used for anytime we send a second lien that's going to close simultaneously with Summit's first mortgage, and we're sending that out to a second lien lender. By brokering the loan, it allows the loan manager and the LP1 and the loan officer to pass information and documentation back and forth between ourselves and the second lien lender. So this process we're going through is the steps on how to have your individual loan approved by compliance to be able to send it to the second lien lender. So the first place that we will go is onto the Peak. And if you go to department sites and to the compliance department, there is a tab on the left-hand side that is for brokered loans, right here, brokered loans. And in this section, it lists out, talks about the policy. It is, there's the loan process right here, the step-by-steps. There is some additional documentation that the policy and procedure will direct you to complete, the first right of refusal form. And then there's also instructions on how to complete the anti-steering disclosure. This disclosure is required to be sent and signed by the borrower prior to us submitting the loan to compliance for approval to broker out the loan. So the first part of the process is the responsibility of the loan partner one to set up a second loan in Encompass and to send the disclosure to the borrower for signature and upload all the documentation required to submit for approval. And we'll go through that documents here in a moment. Once the loan has then moved over to the loan manager, it'll be the loan manager's responsibility to review the documentation that's required and submit the loan to the brokered loan approval email in Outlook for their approval. They will then review the documentation and upload their approval to the second loan that we're going to create and Encompass. At that point, we are then officially approved to send the loan to the second lien lender, whether it's Frost, IBC, Achieva, etc. So whomever you're sending it to, then your loan manager can start working on submitting for approval. So like I said, everything is in the compliance department's website, and then brokered loan. Here are the documents. Always make sure you're referencing them so we have the most recent steps that we're following. So the first thing I will do is we'll open up the brokered loan process document so everybody can see what it looks like. So again, there's a couple steps to this. So the first thing that the LP1 would do would be to create a new loan, and they will do that just by duplicating the loan like they would any other time that they may have to restart a loan. It's the same process to duplicate the loan. You would choose the type of loan as a second mortgage. And within the loan, which I'll open up one in a second here, this is where we will be completing the anti-steering disclosure that would be sent to the borrower. And then you'll see here just on these instructions, there's a first right of refusal form that's required to be completed. And the loan options disclosure, this is also the anti-steering disclosure that is completed in Encompass, and it is electronically disclosed to the borrower through Encompass as well. And you will print out your loan officer license. So this is a hyperlink. You can click directly on it, go type in their name, and print out the disclosure, or sorry, the license, copy of the loan officer's license. And it tells you here, you'll upload those documents into this specific folder, first right of refusal folder, so that it can be reviewed by your loan manager and submitted to compliance or the broker approval group for approval. So let me open up a particular loan here. So my Hughes file, for example, we're doing a first and second. So here's our first mortgage loan. It's up here, the 548,250. We would right click, duplicate, not right here, duplicate loan. And at that point, we would get a pop-up box, create a second lien using data from the first. So you would select this option and hit OK. That then created this second loan right here. So within this loan, I'll navigate, and give me just 1 second. We'll go over to how to complete the anti-steering disclosure. Okay. So let me pull back up the instructions. So on the compliance website, there is how to complete the anti-steering disclosure. And this tells us exactly why and which screens that we go to and how to electronically disclose it. So you will navigate to the Tools tab and go find the anti-steering disclosure screen. So in Encompass, Tools, anti-steering, Safe Harbor screen. Within here, so as part of the anti-steering regulation, we're required to provide at least 3 options of a lender choice to deliver to the borrower for them to select. So we know internally we have already identified a lender who is the best option for the borrower. Sometimes it's based on the turn time, sometimes it's based on specific nuances with the borrower's income or assets. So we've already sort of identified, but we still have an obligation to provide 3 options to the borrower as part of the anti-steering disclosure. So you are able to come into here and type in. So I manually can type in whomever we want. So we've got Achieva, Frost, and IBC as the 3 options on this loan that I disclosed to the borrower. You will fill in the term of that second mortgage, their interest rates they're offering, if that lender charges any points. So for example, on Frost, I noticed on this loan, the borrower would be charged $350 origination or discount point. Achieva, there was not any fees applicable to this borrower, so that's why that's 0. And in this next section, again, you'll just fill in whatever would apply for that particular lender off of their rate sheet. And then the loan option that they're going with. So in this case, this borrower is going to go with loan option number 1, which is Achieva. And the explanation was in here: lowest rate, quickest turn times. So that's completing the disclosure. And I've already disclosed this document to the borrower, so I'm not going to do it again, but it's very similar to exactly how you would already redisclose or send disclosures to the borrower through the e-disclosure process as well. So in the email invite I sent to everybody, again, there's detailed step-by-steps on how to, so if you haven't ever disclosed before or sent additional disclosures to the borrower, the steps on how to do that is included on the anti-steering disclosure for brokered loans that's saved on the compliance website as well. So Once the borrower has received and signed the disclosure, we will also be completing the first right of refusal form. So the LP1 would complete all of this. So you would fill in your loan officer, their license number, literally just going through this form, borrower, the loan number. The loan number that's entered here is the loan number for the second loan that you created in Encompass, not the first mortgage, but the loan that you duplicated. So you'll enter this loan number on here. You would then choose any option here that would apply on why you're brokering that loan out. So the second mortgage. And then you would have a digital signature here for your loan officer. You upload this to the file and the compliance team will give their approval. So back, if we look over at the loan folder here, this document gets saved into the anti-steering section, and when you submit it to the broker approval department, they will come in here, they'll review your documents, and they will add their signature to the document right here and upload it and let you know that you are approved to send it to the second lien lender. So let me just go back here, kind of up. So as we look at the process, so we've created a new loan in Encompass. We filled out the first right of refusal form. We have completed the loan options, aka anti-steering disclosure, sent that to the borrower to have it electronically signed. You've printed out the license printout from this link for your loan officer, and you've uploaded all of those documents to the first right of refusal, and you will then email the brokered loan department asking them to approve your loan. So just kind of making our way through the rest of this document here tells you what the brokered loan team, what their responsibility is. So they'll review your documents within 48 hours. Then they will let you know if it's approved, if they need additional items. All of the lenders that we currently use for second loans are on the broker approved list. So if there is a new lender that any of the teams would like to start using that is not on the list, you are welcome to get them approved. You just let me know. I will work with compliance for them to go through their process of vetting them and getting them approved. It won't hold a loan up from being able to be submitted, but we do want to make sure that we are taking the steps to get them onto the approved list so our process is consistent. So once it has been approved by the brokered loan team, like I said, they will let us know, and then you would make your way through the rest of the process here. So part of setting up the loan, as everybody knows, when you create a new loan, you choose either banked or brokered. So our channel will always be brokered for these second loans. And once you've selected brokered, it will not show in any of Summit's pipeline. So it won't move to underwriting. It won't get assigned to one of our underwriters. It won't show up in any of our reports. Those loans do not count towards funded units, but it's imperative that it's marked as brokered so that the loan doesn't move through any of our internal channels as though it's a second mortgage that Summit Lending is actually going to approve and close. So again, these are the steps here. We all know that there's different requirements for second lien lenders on what they need from us, but really the second file is pretty much a skeleton. You're just entering in basic information, close date, loan amount, making sure it's marked as brokered, and really that's it. So then the closeout process, this is the loan manager's responsibility as well. Once the first mortgage is set to be funded, This last page here, page 3, tells the loan manager the documents that they need to upload to that second loan in Encompass. So your final CD, the rate lock confirmation, a copy of the check. Our loan officers do not get compensated from the second lien lender, so there is no check to be provided. And the second lien lender, unless they have their own appraisal that's required, but usually all of ours are using our appraisals, there is no additional second mortgage appraisal that needs to be paid for. Again, these HELOC brokered loans, copy of the check, our loan officers aren't compensated, so none of this would really apply. And then, like it says, you'll email accounting and brokered loans to let them know that our loan has funded, but they won't be completing any check requests because there is no fees owed to our loan officers on this file, but this is still the process. So they will at least have notification. They won't necessarily complete the traditional brokered loan process, though. Some of these things don't apply. So, and then ultimately what the brokered loan team will do is they will close out the loan in Encompass. They will advance it to a funded / closed milestone in order for that loan to exit out of Encompass pipeline views. So as a recap, we can move on to some questions here, but of course, you know, as I said from the beginning, our policies, our procedures, and our forms are all listed here within the compliance department, and the anti-steering disclosures generated out of Encompass. This is the step-by-step process on how to do that and how to disclose to your borrower, which are all the responsibility of the LP1. And then the second part of the process is for your LP2 or your loan manager to make sure that we are submitting the items that were uploaded to the brokered loan department. And the reason that, you know, it's split because anything that's customer facing, borrower facing requires disclosures to be signed, just like any other traditional first mortgage. Those responsibilities would lie with the LP1. However, the loan manager, you know, they're our second set of eyes to make sure that the second lien lender that was designated by the loan partner one or the loan officer, once they've determined that, yes, based on LTV, credit score, any other nuances, the loan actually can go to that lender, they've just vetted that for us. So the loan manager will be responsible to submit for approval to send to that particular second lien lender. So that's how I've divided the duties on making sure we're getting the approval to submit to that second lien lender. So that really concludes the step-by-step process. I'm happy to take any questions that anyone has at this point. Jackson, if there's anything else you'd like me to go back over, I'm happy to do that as well.
No, that's super helpful. Thank you very much, Lisa. So any questions? I just wanted to, I wish we didn't have to do this. The old system obviously was easier. So I understand change is never welcome, but this is kind of what compliance is basically told us we have to do. So until we find a better way, we appreciate Lisa coming up with this system on how to do it. So we've now been officially trained on it, but I think of who's on the call. This is really mainly, I would say, probably going to impact mainly Ryan, right? But obviously everybody in the back end as well, in terms of helping with processing and closing loans. I still think this is helpful for you to be aware of, so you kind of know what is happening on the front end and how to kind of best interface and integrate with it. So I'm going to go ahead and raise your hand. Does anybody have any questions before I stop the training? Go ahead, Ryan. You're on mute. Oh, no, you're not actually. Go ahead.
Lisa, can you go into more detail on the questions that we have to answer on the anti-steering disclosure for each one of the options, where it has the drop-down boxes of no and yes?
Yes.
When me and you did our one-off on it, we had some of them marked yes, but I noticed on yours they were all marked no. So I just want to make sure that, one, does it really matter? Two, are we like doing it right? Or, you know what I mean?
Right. So the anti-steering disclosure would be filled out based upon the rate sheets that we have for each of those lenders. So none of the second lien lenders we work with offer like a negative amortization loan. They may or may not have a prepayment penalty. I actually believe maybe one of our lenders may have a prepayment penalty if it's paid off within the first 6 months, perhaps. That might be True West. I don't recall. I have to pull up their rate sheet to know for sure. And then not all of them, but most all of them, will offer a 30 due in 15, but the balloon payment, balloon payment in the first 7 years. So that was the other question, right? Is there a balloon payment in the first 7 years? So these were all 30 due in 15. So it's a balloon within 15 years. So it wasn't within the 7, which is why I selected no for those options, and no to the demand feature as well. So if we have, I guess I would just say the next time someone fills out the anti-steering, I'm happy to go through it, help kind of read through the rate sheets for those other lenders.
So what is a demand feature though?
Let me look here. So the demand feature would be, it's kind of, I've seen it be, it's basically calling the note due if certain things, if you were to transfer ownership to somebody else, if you were to do an assumption. Some of them don't allow assumptions.
Right? Or do we want to put that as no?
That should be no.
A demand feature by definition, I got a little definition here. If the demand feature box is checked, yes, the lender can require that you immediately pay the loan balance at any time. And this lender can make this demand on you for any reason and with no warning. So I would say most of the time, that's not going to be the case.
Okay, so we'll mark those as no.
I would mark those all as no. Would be my thought.
So really the only one that we need to be prepared to double check is the prepayment penalty.
Yes, yes. And again, it should state on their rate sheets if they have a prepayment penalty or not.
Okay.
So if it's not listed, the answer would be no. If it's listed that they offer, or not offer, but they have a prepayment penalty for paying off a loan within a certain term or within a certain period, then you would mark it yes. Doesn't look like there's an option to say within a certain period of time, but it's just kind of a yes or no.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Any other
Awesome.
questions?
Any other questions? Okay, I'm going to stop recording.